Join me for a scotch while we talk about the Breitling Navitimer Rattrapante. Hey guys, I'm John Rittar from WatchSpec.com. Today I want to talk to you about the stunning Breitling Navitimer Rattrapante that I have here on my wrist. This video will highlight the key points of this watch. Over at WatchSpec.com I will have a written article that will go through all the full detail of every aspect of this watch, so I'll leave a link to that in the notes below. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel and sign up for notifications so you can catch every review when it releases. With that, let's get started. Let's start with a quick model overview. The Breitling Navitimer was created as a tool watch for pilots back in 1952, and today is well respected by both pilots and non-pilots alike. You could see this watch on the wrist of many celebrities out there, including actor and pilot John Travolta, jazz musician Miles Davis wore this watch, Jerry Seinfeld, the comedian, even astronaut Scott Carpenter wore this watch up in space because he wanted the functionality that this watch provides. This Rattrapante version specifically was first introduced at the 2017 Baselworld. The word Rattrapante actually refers to the split seconds chronograph complication, which is the addition to this Navitimer model. There are positives and negatives that go along with that. Let's break that down. Let's look at style. The Breitling Navitimer is one of the most easily recognized watches out there based on its very unique styling. Let's take a closer look to understand why. So starting with dimensions, we have a 45mm case coming in at 15.7mm thick. Lug to lug height is at 52mm, and the lug width for the band is at 24mm. Those are all very large numbers, but the size is due to all the functions that are included into this watch, which I will explain a little later. This case is polished on all surfaces and is contoured nicely around the dial. The case is actually slightly recessed behind the outer edge of the bezel, which visually maximizes the usable area of the dial for the added tools. The lugs have a great shape, extending smoothly off the main case with a beveled edge to add a touch of angular strength. The case back is a screw-down solid stainless steel, polished with the exception of the Breitling logo in the center, and it includes an additional tool of a temperature conversion table on the back. The dial of the Navitimer is very busy. There are just so many markers and numbers on here. But the color selections for the different areas do help guide the eye, so it's not too overwhelming. The dial is a pure black, classy as can be. It includes 3 subdials, all in a slight off-white with a tinge of reflective silver, and the bezel slide rule is also in this off-white. Overall, that panda theme. The markers on the dial have great contrast to the dial being a reflective silver, and the main hour markers raised off the dial also stand out. The subdials include main time seconds at 9 o'clock, chronograph minutes at 3 o'clock, and chronograph hours at 6 o'clock. The subdials are slightly recessed into the dial for additional depth. The date window is placed between 4 and 5 o'clock. And finally, the branding on the dial. There is the Breitling Wings logo in polished silver just below 12 o'clock. The words Breitling in 1884, chronometer, and Navitimer below that in reflective silver. We also have Swiss made at the very bottom of the dial. The bezel is easily one of my favorite parts about this watch. The bezel diameter is slightly oversized compared to the case, so when you look straight at the watch, you see that beautiful scalloped profile of the bezel rather than the smooth surface of the case below it. This is a subtle touch, but it leads to a very unique look, and it's something I really love. The gripping surface itself is polished silver on the outside with brush finish to the groove channels themselves. Next is the angle of the bezel's chapter ring, creating that wonderful crater shape that I love and find so appealing in a watch. The hands on the Navitimer are simple and well executed. The main hour and minute hands holding a pencil shape, polished silver to catch the light, and then filled with a lume stick. The subdial hands match this, just without the lume. To spice it up a bit, the main chronograph seconds hand, which is located on the main dial, is a bright red arrow with polished silver Breitling B counterbalance. This red really grabs your attention and adds a sportiness to the entire watch. The chronograph split second hand, also on the main dial, is polished silver stick with an anchor-shaped counterbalance, and we have a pale orange pointer tip, which is a very interesting color choice and something that I really enjoy. The glass applied is a scratch-resistant sapphire with anti-reflective coating on both sides. That's a detail you'll actually notice in terms of the superb clarity, even at very sharp angles. The glass has a slight dome with its edge aligning perfectly to the edge of the bezel. The crown is well sized for the 45mm case and includes the chronograph split seconds pusher in the middle. The band on this watch is a smooth two-piece black leather with thick white stitching, the colors matching the rest of the watch. It has 24mm width. This is large but proportionally correct to the 45mm case. The clasp is a typical buckle type, polished with the Breitling Wings logo. This watch does wear large on my 7-inch wrist. As you can see, being such a quality timepiece, you want to be able to dress it up, but it will catch on your cuff, which is disappointing. This is where a traditional and smaller sized Navitimer will beat out the Rattrapante in my opinion. Granted, if you want to consider this as a statement piece, well, there is some flexibility to give that a pass. Having said that, the execution of this watch is just stunning. With the alignment of all the markers and all the edges, you can't find any imperfections in this. And the style is just jaw-dropping with the color scheme, that domed glass, my favorite part being that crater effect from that angled bezel. It's just a beautiful watch, and it has the flexibility to be worn from casual up to formal settings. Let's move to comfort. The comfort of the Breitling Navitimer is not going to be perfect just due to its size, but Breitling has taken steps to try to counter this. First, the band includes padded leather on its case side for added cushion against the hefty 3.8 ounce or 109 gram weight. That's the weight without strap. This is equivalent to 19 US quarters if you wanted to gather those and check the weight. Even though this is a decent weight, it is well controlled by the secure feeling of the strap, a result of that strong width, the perfect thickness, and that solid clasp. The strap has good adjustability to fit the size of your wrist, with range from 6 to 8 inches with 1/4 inch adjustment intervals. The only negatives in terms of comfort are the large diameter and crown. It is something that you will notice, there's no way around it, but having said that, it wears more comfortably than you would guess, with the big comfort issue being the bunching of the cuff when dressing it up. Well done by Breitling to minimize the comfort problems with this case diameter. Okay, let's move to movement and accuracy. The best part of this watch, its movement. Inside we have the Breitling B03 in-house Swiss-made automatic chronograph movement. This adds the split-second complication, making it one of the most sophisticated horological complications, and one for which Breitling owns 2 patents on the innovative design. Very impressive. And movement is the lifeblood of a watch. That should be a key focus of any watchmaker out there, and that's why I respect this watch so much. Let's take a look at the details of this movement. As mentioned, it is Swiss-made. It has a massive 46 joules inside of this. It operates at 8 beats per second for smoother sweep and improved accuracy over a 6 beat per second movement. It has a 70-hour power reserve. Accuracy is officially listed at +4, -6 seconds per day, earning the Navitimer the chronometer certification, which is very impressive. Regulation is possible, but please send it to a professional if it's needed. It's hackable. It has hand winding. I should mention that the winding both by hand and by rotor movement is a bit on the loud side, just something to note. This includes date complication, with the date changeover both starting and ending exactly at midnight. It's an immediate switch. Very nice. The chronograph complication is included, and better yet, it includes that split seconds functionality to capture intermediate stopwatch sessions during the chronograph operation. Let's move to usability. There's a lot to talk about here because this is a tool watch. Because of that, there is so much going on this dial. But I mentioned the colors earlier. those colors are well selected to help guide your eye to know where to look to improve the readability. We have the raised hour markers in polished silver to reflect the light. The subdials, bezel slide rule, and hands oppose the color of the main dial for easy distinction. The chronograph seconds hand is a bright red for immediate spotting at a quick glance. And key numbers or markers in the slide rule are also colored red for quick setting ability. Readability is also improved with the hands extending all the way to their markers and having great resolution in the markers. For example, the chronograph seconds on the main dial are broken down to the quarter second. I would say the most difficult part of the dial to read in terms of usability would be the tachymeter, only because the numbers are stuck between the slide rule and the dial's main time ring, but it can still be read with a little bit of focus. The size of this watch is set in order to fit all the tools that are included, and here's a list of those tools. Of course, analog clock with hour, minute, and seconds, chronograph with hour, minute, seconds, and split seconds. We have a date calendar, tachymeter, temperature conversion table, which is on the back, converting Celsius to Fahrenheit. The slide rule includes multiplication, division. You can calculate ground speed, calculate miles per minute, calculate gasoline consumption, calculate rate of climb or descent, calculate distance of climb or descent. There is distance conversion from nautical mile to statute mile, and you can calculate exchange rates. The chronograph starts and stops using the 2 o'clock pusher, resets using the 4 o'clock pusher, and the split seconds starts and resets using the 3 o'clock pusher that's found inside the crown. Moving to the bezel, its rotation, which is bidirectional, has a perfect feel to it. It's firm enough that you will not have accidental rotation, but it's not too firm that it's difficult to use, especially with the great gripping surface that's provided. Water resistance is set at 30 meters or 100 feet. That's good enough for light splashes from washing your hands or a rain shower. Lume is applied to the main hour and minute hands in the spine of each hand, as well as in the end of each hour marker. It is also helpful that 12 o'clock has a double marker, so you can tell orientation in the dark. The lume on this watch is not the brightest or the longest lasting, but it is not bad by any means. Overall, the careful design of this watch provides a strong level of usability. Okay, let's finish with value and verdict. This watch is not going to work for everyone, let's just be honest. The diameter is large, it's thick, there's so much going on the dial, but that's all the bad I can say about it. The Breitling Navitimer is a true icon, and it's earned its respect over the years based on its strong functionality, the innovative in-house movements, the quality materials and attention to detail, and that great styling that's included. The Rattrapante version specifically, it adds that additional functionality of that innovative split-second chronograph complication. Also, it's in-house by Breitling, very impressive. But at about $9,500, is that added functionality of the split seconds really worth the additional $3,000 over a traditional Navitimer chronograph? You'll have to answer that for yourself based on what you need from your watch. For me personally, I don't need that split seconds functionality. I would rather have a traditional Navitimer 1 and get a smaller diameter. But whatever you decide for yourself, whether it's the Navitimer 1 or this Rattrapante version, you can rest assured that you're getting a high quality timepiece with amazing styling and an awesome in-house movement. If you are interested in this watch, I will leave a product link in the notes below. If you have any questions about this watch, feel free to contact me either through my website, watchspec.com, or by leaving a comment in the notes below. Also, please let me know your opinions in the comments below. I love hearing what you guys think. Please give this video a like if you found it helpful, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and sign up for notifications so you can catch all my content when it releases. And with that, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.